You see, after peacefully protesting for nearly 4 weeks, Trudeau invoked the Never-Before-Used Emergencies Act, meant for Pearl Harbor-level events, to dissipate the truckers and their supporters who had been organizing street concerts, planning community cleanups, feeding the homeless, playing street hockey, and erecting bouncy castles. The truckers and their supporters basically created a community during their time in Ottawa while they protested the division of our communities under government COVID mandates. That is, until Justin Trudeau sent in the cops, the horses, the pepper spray, the batons to arrest, detain, jail, seize bank accounts, seize trucks, seize Bitcoin wallets, euthanize opposition to his government. But before this latest scandal, the biggest scandal Justin Trudeau was dealing with was the WE organization. That unfolded April 2020. He gave the WE organization, headed by his friends, the Kielburger brothers, a sole source contract worth millions of dollars to administer a nearly $1 billion COVID student bailout program. They were the only ones capable of administering this important program, but as it turns out, the program was specifically crafted for the Kielburgers to administer. Oh, and then there's this extra layer of scandal in the middle of all this, because for years, the Kielburgers have been employing Justin Trudeau's family members to give speeches at their We Day events. I bet those speeches were riveting. But the relationship with the Kielburgers, and specifically Craig Kielburger, had yet another layer. Kielburger was on the Debates Commission Advisory Board, you know, the people tasked with keeping independent journalists out of the federal leaders' debates, the commission that Rebel News had to sue twice in court. And at least the first time we sued them, Kielburger was on the board. He left, or rather was replaced, in July 2021. We sued them again in August. Now, knowing what we know about the Kielburgers, we wanted to know more about his role on the debate commission and specifically his expenses. I have 90 plus pages of documents about them. Most of it is nothing, but it also, in the middle, shows you how little respect Kielburger had for the Canadian taxpayer. Let's take a look at some of these expenses. It's odd that Kielburger's role in the Debate Commission Advisory Board was run through the We Charity. You can see that on pages 87 through 92, because the We Charity was not on the Debates Commission, Kielburger was. On page 1, you can see that Craig Kielburger's expenses are almost higher than that of any other advisory committee member. I think he's generally number 2 in every category. And funny enough, we're going to take a little side trip here in the story back to our lawsuits with the Debates Commission. The bureaucrats who sent me this document also include some legal fees here. BLG Legal Services, look at this. BLG Legal Services, $32,551 and change. July 2019. That was the first time we had to drag these people to court. Now, are those expenses all for us? No, they probably involve True North too. BLG Legal, another $160,897 and change. This coincides with the next legal battle they lost. So Trudeau spent 5 times more money on lawyers at the Debates Commission in the lead up to the next election. Let's just pause on this for a second. Trudeau lost in court once, and instead of backing off and doing the right thing and just respecting journalistic freedom, he instead spent 2 years trying to rig the rules and ramped up his legal attacks 5-fold, at least according to these expense reports. And then he was still handed his own rear end in a sack by a judge. I think if my math is correct, that's $193,000, much of it to fight independent journalists in court over 2 years. And that $12,000 you see there, well, that was to us to cover some of our legal costs after being forced to sue these gatekeeping expense account junkies for the charter right to do our job. This is ironic, considering these are the same sorts of legal expenses that they considered a state secret when we asked for them specifically. Don't take my word for it. Here's a prior access to information request we filed looking for legal expenses associated with fighting Rebel News and True North in court when they blocked us from the federal leaders' debate. And you see that there? It's all redacted. In the end, Trudeau didn't respect that a judge just a few hours earlier had rapped his knuckles. He still acted like a spoiled brat, thinking he can control who is media in this country, either through bailout bribes or tantrums. Remember this.
Ma question est la suivante. L'Israël est l'un des pays les plus vaccinés au monde. Ils sont rendus maintenant à leur 4e rappel de vaccin. Ils ne considèrent plus que ceux qui ont reçu 2 doses de vaccin sont pleinement vaccinés. Ma question est, plusieurs Canadiens ne désirent pas avoir un rappel de vaccin. Allez-vous leur enlever leurs privilèges reliés au vaccinal? Et aurez-vous l'obligeance de répondre à ma question en tant que Premier ministre ou allez-vous encore diaboliser mon média?
J'ai partagé ma perspective sur ton organisation hier soir. J'ai plus rien à dire.
Ça demande bien qui vous êtes. Merci.
Anyway, let's get back into these documents. Because Trudeau's friend, Craig Kielburger, was so petty that he was trying to nickel and dime his expense account with the debate commission, though he is a wealthy man in his own right, with the We organization. Once upon a time owning about $40 million in real estate, and Craig bragging once in an MTV Cribs episode about his Kenyan house and his oversized cars and teams of donkeys. Look at this. That aged like a banana, didn't it? Now back to these documents. It's interesting to note that other members of the debate commission refused to accept any payment for their role, but not Craig Kielburger. See this? Two names are blacked out as refusing payment, but not Kielburger. This is an email that is discussing paying his professional fees at the Debates Commission. Page 79 is where the petty nonsense really starts. Kielburger is trying to bill for an extra hotel room for a meeting of the Debates Commission. I think he thought he could get away with this because, you know, he's the boss's buddy and he employs the boss's mom. Look at this. Please find attached the travel expense claims for the advisory board meeting that took place on March 25th, 2019. And somebody's actually providing some appropriate scrutiny here, because then they ask, do you have proof for taxis for Craig Kielburger? The amount for the room is $432.48 for 2 nights. You're only allowed 1 night. Do I reimburse at $216.42 or 2 nights at $432.48? When you're Justin Trudeau's friend, why not try to bill another hotel room to the taxpayer? Shoot for the stars, Craig Kielburger. Page 80, someone responds that he was here for other business. I guess, and he still tried to bill it to the Debates Commission and therefore the taxpayers, but okay. $40 million in real estate holdings, and this guy's trying to wring another $216 from the taxpayer. Just wow.
That was an excerpt from my daily TV-style show called The Ezra Levant Show. Each weekday, I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview a fascinating guest. I read some fan mail or hate mail, depends on which I like more, and we end with a video of the day. You can get it all at rebelnewsplus.com.